Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back into my channel. So in this lab, we're going to configure an AWS Aurora database. So we would just go here and click on ODS. And we just click on create Aurora database. So just hit on create Aurora database, and you could tell that we have create database. So choose a database creation method. So you have a standard creation as default. And down here, you could see it have an easy create. So we're gonna go ahead and just choose from the engine option here, which says that engine type is Aurora MySQL compatible. So that's the one that we're going to choose. Now, by the way, you may wonder, what is Aurora database in AWS? So let's just go, let's see what Google is giving us as an answer. So what is Aurora in AWS? So let's just find this out. So first, on Wikipedia, it described that Amazon Aurora is a relational database service developed and offered by Amazon Web Services beginning in October 2014. So Aurora is available as part of the Amazon Relational Database Service. So Aurora is a relational database service in AWS. So if we would want to dive deep, say Aurora. All right, let's choose this and see what do we have here. So Amazon Aurora is a fully managed relational database engine that's compatible with MySQL and PostgreSQL. You can already know how MySQL and Postgre combine to speed the reliability of high-end commercial databases with the simplicity and cost-effective of open source databases. So that's the definition. So Amazon RDS shared responsibility model, how Amazon Aurora work with Amazon RDS. Let's just click back out and see what we have. Okay, I think I would like this better. So Amazon Aurora designed for unparalleled high performance and availability at global scale with full MySQL and Postgre compatibility. So power performance intensive application and critical workload while maintaining full compatibility with MySQL and Postgre at 1/10 the cost of commercial database. So it built application with multi-AZ availability backed by 99.99% uptime, service level agreement, which is SLA, and global replication with cross-region disaster recovery in less than a minute. So it improved productivity and lower total cost of ownership with a fully managed database include innovation like serverless. You can focus on building applications that delight your user. So it's easily migrate MySQL or Postgre databases to and from Aurora using standard tool, or when legacy SQL Server application with Bubblefish for Aurora PostgreSQL with minimal code change. So it's kind of explain how it works here. So you could visit this website yourself if this is something that's interesting to you. It gives you an introduction of Amazon Aurora, use cases. I think that's what we read earlier. It's modernized enterprise application. It built software as service application. It deploy globally distributed applications, and it goes serverless. I think that's pretty neat. So let's not waste time. Let's just go ahead and jump on creating my Aurora database. So I will just go down here on the edition version. So we have my Aurora MySQL and Aurora Postgres. So I will use Aurora MySQL, which I'm using here. And then from this, we have filter in term, right? So in terms of different version of Aurora, and you can see they are available here, what they support. For example, let's say if you were to show version that support the global database future, and now if you say show version that support the parallel query feature, it's automatically open an available version of Aurora here. So we'll close this. Let's say if you use the show version that support the serverless, so you have a multiple of Aurora version that you can use. And I will just leave these as default. But once you go down here to template, you have to choose from whatever template that you want to use. Now with this, make sure that you choose the version that's the free version here. So with this template, I will leave this as production, but there's another option here that's dev test. So you have the DB cluster identifier. It's automatically give us a name. Now, if you go down here on credential settings, so we have the master username as admin. We will leave it as it is, as password generated. We can create a password for that. Let's say I'll choose this. I know what this password is already. I can just pick that and I will move just one letter. And then down here, you have instance configuration, the DB instance class, and the bustable classes included. So we have the memory optimization classes, right? Or the bustable classes. So no matter what Aurora is not part of this feature, but I can choose, for example, the DB or 6G to extra large. So, but I will just leave this as default. Let's see what we have here. It says something is not compatible. Hopefully it's compatible now. Okay, let's just go. Okay. All right. So then when you reach down here, it says that the availability and durability. So the multi-AZ deployment, it's always better if you want to spend less money to choose depending on your budget, you could choose don't create an Aurora replica. But for the sake of this lab, I will choose the multi-AZ and duration. But it's possible for you to actually create a multi-AZ deployment. By creating an Aurora replication, an Aurora replica or the read node in a different availability zone, which is good for fast failover and high availability. So I'm going to create an Aurora replica. It's going to cost more money, but I can show you different features. If you want to follow along, you can decide not to. Just in case if you want to spend less money. But again, I will choose this. So now in connectivity, we have this selected for us by default, compute resource. So don't connect to an EC2 compute resource. And you have connect to an EC2 compute resource, but I will, for connectivity, I will not connect to an EC2 compute resource. And again, we have what? We have to select this public access if you want to connect into your Aurora. And now for the VPC group, you can create, a VPC security group. I will name this demo Aurora DB. And let's see, on additional, we have the port number, which is 2306. For database authentication, I will leave this password authentication, and I will scroll down. Now for monitoring, you have different options. I will leave this on 7-day free tier because I don't want to get charged for anything. Now for additional configuration, you have the granularity, which is 60-second, monitoring wall as default. And let's see what we have here. For the database option, I can name this my Aurora D database. And for cluster, for DB cluster parameter group, I will leave everything else as default. And if you scroll down, you have the backup retention period. So the number of days, it starts from 1 to 35. So basically, you know that we have a backup retention between 1 to 35, and you cannot disable this. And then we can enable encryption, which already been enabled here. Bang, bang. We don't have to use enable backtrack. You could do that if you want to, the log export. You could pick your configuration as whatever that meets your requirement. Now, the deletion protection, it says enable deletion protection protects the database from being deleted accidentally. While this option is being enabled, you can't delete the database. So just in case, if you will make a mistake and click on deleting your database, this is the second layer of security that will making sure that this is something that you really want to do. So let's just go ahead and create the database real quick. Now, okay, so it says something invalid here. So let me just go ahead and remove the hyphen. I will make these capital letter instead. This always happens to me. See now. Okay, so we go ahead and create this database real quick. Okay. We'll close. So my database is in the process of being created. Now, what do we have? Now, we have like, consider creating a blue-green deployment to minimize downtime during upgrades. So I would like to go over the blue-green deployment with you. So you may want to consider using Amazon RDS, which is Relational Database Services, blue-green deployment, and minimize your downtime during upgrade. A blue-green deployment provides a staging environment for changes to production database. So basically, I'd like to explain to you what is a blue-green deployment. So guys, in software engineering, a blue-green deployment is a method of installing change to a web app or database server by swapping alternating production and staging servers. So what is a blue-green deployment? Let's explain that in depth. So a blue-green deployment is a deployment strategy in which you create two separate but identical environments. One environment blue is running the current application version, and one environment green is running the new application. So basically, the blue is considered as the old application that's going to swap into the new application of the implementation that you being made. So the blue is old, the green is new. So basically, a blue-green deployment is a method of which you're trying to change an application into another application, but you do not want to have any downtime during the staging of your process. So let's see here where that says about the blue-green deployment. So a blue-green deployment is an application release model that gradually transfers user traffic from a previous version of an app or microservices to a nearly identical new release, both of which are running in production. So the whole version can be called the blue environment, while the new version can be known as the green environment. Once production traffic is fully transferred from a blue to green, blue can stand by in case of rollback or pull from production and update to become the template upon which the next update is made. So there are downside of this continuous deployment model. Not all environments have the same uptime requirements of the resources. So the property of CI/CD process like blue-green, but many apps evolve to support such continuous deployment. So that's what that is, a blue-green deployment is. I hope this makes sense. So you see there's a load balancer here, an NFS, master node, so authentication, data store, schedule, manage your application. So the blue-green deployment is basically when you're trying to implement a new application over another one. Let's see what Dale says here about a blue-green deployment.
What's happening here? So, in order to make this demonstration even more interesting, we decided, let's actually get all the stuff off the table or off the stage, back onto the stage, because think of this as our flying trapeze act. There's no safety net. So we have to have a little, agile movement here as well. But we're going to be specifically talking to our developers and our operators. For all you hands-on technical people in the room, we want to speak to you right now about specifically what you might be doing on a daily basis and how you would interact with some of the technologies that you've heard about in Paul's presentation. So we're going to specifically talk to our developers, and I want, as a developer, for you to think about one thing for a moment. We know it takes a while to get your code into production. We know that it doesn't add any business value until your code reaches production, right? Our code is not worth anything for the business itself until it lands in production. So I want you to think about that for a second, because you're going to have to set up your workstation. You're going to have to configure your JVMs, your app servers, your database connectivity, hopefully getting all that correct and setting it up correctly for your workstation. You probably want to test VM as well. And we're going to also, with your test VM, you have to file a ticket, and you might have to wait a couple days or a couple weeks for that ticket to be adjust and get the VM stood up with all the right software you want on it. And then you're prepared to start writing code. And you file more tickets, and you wait, and hopefully over the course of days, if not months, your software can make it to production. But let's also talk about our operators for a second, because your operators, there's many of them here in the room today.
So this is such a long of a lecture, so we will just stop that here. So basically, I'd like to give you a bird's eye view of what is a blue-green deployment. Let's see if we can switch back here, and our database is being ready now, I would assume. Let's just close this here. If we go to database, I think I was close all these. So let's just open them. Yeah. So that's why you haven't been able to see the future of our databases. So in the previous lab, I was close all these preferences, and that's why you didn't see that. So let me just open these, and you should be able to see all the future into this database. So I have a meeting coming up. I think I will end this video right there, and I will come back to show you the future of to test the database, the Aurora database that we created. So you basically sorry, just a second. Okay, so now we basically see that we have database one instances, database one instance, and use is US one. We have the Aurora database that we give the name. We give it a name. So we have all the features. We almost have everything available. We have a read instances and we have a write instances. So we have a regional cluster and everything. So guys, thank you so very much. Just stay tuned. I will make another video to test this database and show different feature on, for instance, on stop temporary start databases, activity stream, EC2 instance, how we can add and remove certain things, of course. Cross region with replica, blue-green deployment, create clone, and all this fun stuff. So I'll see you soon, okay? I will be having a meeting in right now, so I gotta go. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.